Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingram Jones, and I have with me today a special guest. This, again, is another crossover show. But this crossover show is a very special crossover show. Not to say the other ones haven't been special, but with this particular crossover show, it's somebody I've been, I wouldn't say following, because sometimes we say following, trolling, in the YouTube community that can sound very suspicious. I'd say this is somebody I've admired for a very long time in the way that he goes about his business, the way he produces his content, and somebody I've got the utmost respect for. None other than 78 Sports TV. How are we doing?
All right, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
So 78 Sports TV finally gets across to Bayloric TV. What's taking you so long, brother?
Oh, man, I just been waiting on the invite, man. That's all, brother. I've always admired your work as well, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, first of all, people want to know a little bit more about you. Tell us a little bit more about, what got you into YouTube and doing the boxing videos, and just give us some background, a little bit of background about yourself.
Okay. Well, when I first came to YouTube, I discovered YouTube when I got out of jail, actually. Okay. I got out of jail, and I was trying to do something positive for the community. I had an organization, and then a lot of people on the street were telling me, hey, the internet is a big thing now. You should go online, and, you could connect with more people across the country and make it easier, So I did that, and I looked for any online community where people shared my views on helping the black community and social issues and that sort of thing. And I found YouTube was a great way for me to connect with many teachers and scholars, people whose books I read while I was in jail. I met these people and were invited out to New York to come talk to them and stuff like that. So it was cool. And then I grew frustrated with the it's an old saying, it's the talkers and doers, And I'm a doer by just, I was raised that way, and I found that a lot of people that I admired and looked up to were really just lecturers and talkers, and they didn't want to do anything. I grew frustrated, and I said, I've always had passion for boxing, and I used to sneak around and look on YouTube at I would type in Oscar De La Hoya versus Fernando Vargas so I can watch that fight over again. And then I would see comments from people. And I said, hey, it's like an online boxing community, So I started seeing the sidebar with different people, saw blood boxing, making, talking. I said, this is pretty cool. So I went over to the boxing community and started my first page, 78 Fight News at the time, and started talking boxing. And here we are today, brother.
I know you just noticed about blood boxing, and a shout out to blood boxing as well. Got a lot of time for that brother as well. I know a lot of people give him a hard time, but I think it's very easy to hate on people. And we talked about doers and sayers, and usually the people that do a lot of the saying don't do a lot of the doing. You're spending more time saying than doing. So YouTube's a wonderful community because we're able to say what we want to say when we want to say it, whether we're informed or uninformed. And even when we're uninformed, we still have the freedom to speak. So you can take that wherever you want to take that at times, because I feel that you can get caught up in that, or you can stay focused and do what you need to do. And you certainly have done that.
Yes.
So let's talk about the YouTube community in itself. What's been your overview of the YouTube community? The positives, the drawbacks, the pitfalls
of the YouTube boxing community, or overall?
Well, let's go overall the YouTube boxing. Let's start with that, because that's obviously something that where I've sort of been following what you've been doing from the YouTube community. Let's talk that, and then we can move from the YouTube community outwards and start talking world boxing.
I think the YouTube boxing community can be a beautiful thing. It gives people the option and the opportunity to learn boxing, learn about fighters you may have never heard about, interact with other boxing fans. And see, most of the time, many of us in the YouTube boxing community, we're the smartest boxing guru in our peer group amongst our friends. So when we come online, we see other people like us. You know what I mean? And we can talk to those people and share different experiences, whereas our friends on the street might not know what we're talking about because they might be heavy basketball fans or heavy football fans or whatever. So YouTube box community can be a beautiful thing, but I think that it's been tainted. It's been, I think it's pretty much been destroyed, to be honest with you. As far as the camaraderie, the brotherhood, as far as people coming together as boxing fans to discuss, fights and people. I think the main problem is the opinions of others is not respected. Okay, yep. The opinions of others is not respected. If someone feels that Mayweather is the greatest fighter of all time, even if you disagree with him, it's worthy of debate, and that's what we're here for. But it's not worthy of disrespect. It's not worthy of, oh, you're a fucking idiot, you're a fucking flow-mo, you're a dumbass. It's not worthy of that, and vice versa with people who like Manny Pacquiao and so on and so forth. And people bring in a lot of politics, and to speak on this as well, everybody is a fanboy at some point in their life, okay? We're all fanboys to some. I was a fanboy for Mike Tyson. He could do no wrong to me. He was my I won't say hero because my father was my hero, but, as far as someone you wanted to emulate in the sports figure, Mike Tyson was the guy. And, I see the kids nowadays, they love Mayweather, they love Adrian Bronner, they love Gennady Golovkin, they love Manny Pacquiao, and that's fine. I understand what it is. It's fanboyism. It doesn't upset me to the point because I know I was where they were before with Mike Tyson. So I know what it is. But I think that the problem with the Ytbc now is people's opinions are not respected, and I do believe there's a lot of racism as well online, especially in the YouTube boxing community, where people try to disguise their hatred and their racism, and personal biases.
Well, I have to agree with you on that. There's a lot of that, but I think there is a way that we could go about separating this. You can, as I said, you're entitled to have your opinion, as we all are. I think if we can be more constructive, meaning, look, these are your facts, or these are your thoughts, can you back them up with any facts? Historical facts. I mean, people then use historical facts and then say, well, I knew this, you didn't know that, therefore it gives me the entitlement to feel that I'm a better person than you. It makes you feel that I have some sort of control over you. Okay, so you knew that Harry Greb had a fight in 1950 something, and great, fantastic, you did your research, you had the time to do the research to do that, and I'm proud of you that, and that's what you do. But that doesn't mean afterwards that you can be disrespectful to me. That doesn't mean that because you've got that information, suddenly you supersede over me. You have some sort of superiority complex. I think that's an issue there. I think the other thing is that we need to separate the people between the people that do the work and the people that do the talking.
Right.
Like I said, you've got people that talk online, talk and talk and talk and talk, but they don't do anything. You'll see them make the comments. They've got no subscribers. They've got no subscribers, done no videos, but they're ready to tell you everything about how to do an interview, to why didn't you ask this question, to, this person's this, that person's that. People knock Mayweather, but Mayweather's quite comfortable where he is and what he's doing. Some of these people have never laced a glove in their life, never taken a punch in anger. Some of them have never even left their seat in their armchair and just watched boxing for all their life. So, So I think there's an element of almost a professional attitude that needs to be taken. And when you see what's going on, it's kind of pull yourself away from that sort of stuff and try and just keep producing the best that you can do. And that's what you've done. So it's difficult because people want to get you in. You want to be a part of the community. You want to feel you're a part of something. And then, something I have noticed a lot of is this channel versus that channel.
Yes.
When you see a versus... When I see verses, for myself, I'll do a crossover. So it'll be meets, introduces, welcomes. There is no confrontation there. The minute you put the letter V or VS, versus, it's confrontation. Light versus dark. This person versus the other person. You're coming with one element of power. I'm coming with one element of power. So there's confrontation. And when there's confrontation, unless there are rules put in place, it's not for a cup of coffee. Somebody's expecting a winner and somebody's expecting a loser.
Yes.
And when we put verses, and you're in the realm of boxing, and it's free for all, where people can come in and say what they want, when they like, how they feel, and have no consequences for their actions. I tell you, of a lot of these people, there was a consequence for their actions, whether it be their racist behaviour, whether them leaving their racist behaviour and their comments on YouTube would get them fired from their jobs. I wonder if they'd be so brave.
Oh, absolutely not.
I wonder if these people that made their comments about this and that, well, you know what? If you've got a problem, let's settle it in a boxing ring. How many of them actually would turn up to the boxing ring and sort it out? There's these things. So we could go down that route, but I do want to highlight it because it's something that I see and I kind of stay clear of, because you're pitting one person against another, and we could go into this another time about pitting one set of people against another set of people. We could go into it, but that's not really where I want to take this conversation. What I want to do is kind of keep it on the positive, and let's talk about the positive things within the YouTube community.
Positives. Well, as of right now, it's really hard for me to find the positivity, man. I'm being honest. It's I wanted so badly for the YouTube boxing community to be a fun place for me and for my subscribers and really for everybody. You know what I mean? I don't hate anyone. You know what I mean? Hate is a strong word, and it takes a lot for me to hate someone. It takes a lot. You know what I mean? It would have to be very, very vile disrespect that I receive from somebody, okay, unjustly, for me to hate them.
Yeah.
Now, there's a few people who have done that, only few, and I just don't associate with them, But I think the YouTube boxing community, and I'm going to go back to something that you said earlier about the historical aspect of it, and people having this arrogant stance. I know that Joe Blow knocked out John L. Sullivan, and he knocked him out in 2 rounds. And I read this in it's Burt Sugar's autobiography, whatever. It's like, okay, that's great. Good for you. But who's going to win tomorrow night's fight? Okay, and do you know who the guys are tomorrow night? And how is he going to win tomorrow night? Who's going to win the David Haye fight? Or whatever. It's like, I think sometimes, and I would love history. I respect history.
Absolutely.
I think history is absolutely needed and must be learned and understood. Okay, but I think sometimes people have a confusion where they think that because they know the history of the sport of boxing, that makes them superior to the kid who's been watching boxing for 5 years. Okay, and I don't think that's necessarily the case. Okay, it's not. All right.
I mean, you might be great historically because you read a lot of books and you do a lot of studying and you ain't got nothing better to do with your life. You may do that. I mean, are you getting paid for that? I mean, some people are talking. Are you getting paid? Are you a historian? These things I ask, and I ask these questions to point to saying, well, if you're going to take such a superior stance over everybody, and hey, why don't you go further than YouTube and promote yourself as a world historian in boxing? Why don't you do that? And you got someone like Spencer Ferron in the UK. That's he's known as the knowledge, and he speaks a lot of sense, and he can go back into time and he can tell you about this, that, and the other. But he can also talk to you about fights that are coming up, and he's a pretty cool dude. I mean, but there's none of this.
What's his name?
Go ahead.
Oh, what's his name?
Spencer Ferron.
Oh, okay.
And he'll give you information about the past. He can reference this, that, and the other, and he's quite cool. But that because you know that, and he's a pundit for Sky, but because you know that information doesn't make you better than the other person. You might just know you've just done a bit more research.
Absolutely, and I'll prove that to you right now. It's the same thing with the conscious community and activism. Okay, it's this. Someone will tell you, like I met so many people, ex-Black Panthers, ex-Liberation Army members, so on and so forth, and you would talk to these guys, and they're in their 60s or whatever, and they'll tell you, I'll say, hey, this business over here, is discriminating against black people. Okay, this business over here, the owner beat up a young black boy because he thought he was stealing and found out he wasn't stealing. Okay, what are we going to do about that right now today? And then I would get this long lecture about the 50s and 60s. Oh, well, what happened in the 50s? You see, brother, this and this and this happened, and then you got to understand this. And then bottom line is they're not going to do anything, right? That's the bottom line. They're not going to do anything. But me, the guy who at the time was young to the information and was full of energy and wanted to go out and do something, well, I was rejected by these so-called historians and people with all the experience. They didn't want to do anything. They want to just sit back and give their speeches, and that's fine. Everybody wants to be an intellectual. Everybody wants to appear to be smart. Nobody wants to get up off the couch. A bunch of armchair revolutionaries. Couch potato conscious.
Yep, I guess if Malcolm X did that, if Marcus Garvey did that, if Muhammad Ali did that, and many other people just sat on their backsides and didn't stand up and didn't fight for what was right and what they believed to be right, and looked to other people, then we wouldn't have these great people in our midst. And I'm afraid to say is one of the cancers within the community, and it needs people like ourselves to take a stand and do what needs to be done. I know that there's a big, and I'm going to hit on it because a lot of people are saying to me, "Oh, you know what? There's a lot of racism within the YouTube community, and please, Ingram, don't make sure your channel doesn't go racist, doesn't become racist." Well, no, it's not my channel becoming racist, but to talk about racism, to bring it up. James Ali-Bashir the other day spoke about racism in the sport of boxing. He's been talking about it for years, and people are saying, "No, there's no racism in boxing." Floyd Mayweather brings it up. Oh, it's a big thing. Floyd Mayweather mentions it. And then Conor McGregor's jumped on a bandwagon with it now and saying how, I'm Irish and, we had issues as well. And, at the end of the day, there will be people with a racist agenda. There is. And then that's an energy and that's something that's there. And we have the choice as to whether we ignore it and turn a blind eye to it, or we face it on a constructive, positive, and progressive way, or we respond in a manner which is typical and unable to articulate our views, instead being aggressive and not fueling the energy where it needs to be put. You see, and we end up entangling ourselves in what we've got here. So what would you say is the way to move things forward in the YouTube community? I mean, you can block and ban people, that's one thing to do, but how can you really move forward with this?
I think one way to get the things back on track, I think that what people have to do is be honest with themselves. We can lie to everyone else, but to lie to yourself is the worst thing to do. You know what I mean? Because every day you look at yourself in the mirror, you're going to know that you're a liar. Okay? It bothers me that people... I had one guy tell me recently, he says he was bragging about the fact that he unsubscribed from my channel, okay? A guy who I had no problem with. I actually liked the guy, everything, right? I saw him on someone else's video comment section saying, "Oh, I unsubscribed from 78 because this racism stuff is getting out of control." Now, here I am, the person who warned the YouTube boxing community 5 months ago that it was headed towards this direction because of the stuff that I was seeing happening, okay? I noticed that what was happening was when I criticized a black fighter, okay, for anything that he done wrong, I noticed that at that time, I would get all these comments and people saying, "Yeah, real talk, man, you're the realest. You're the best YouTube channel. You're so unbiased. You don't speak, you don't care about race. You just speak the truth, And then the very next video, okay, the same people, if I criticize Amir Khan, will say, "Oh, you're racist. You don't like Pakistanis. If Khan was black, you'd love him." I said, now how does this make sense? Yesterday, when I said something bad about Floyd Mayweather, I was the realist and so real. Today, I say something bad about Amir Khan and I'm a racist.
Hold on. Let me break that. We can break that down quite simply. We can break it down in other ways. Well, the person that responded, you're slacking off Floyd Mayweather, and if they don't like black fighters, then you're doing a great job. Black on black.
Absolutely.
Great. So and then if that person, also liked Amir Khan but didn't like black fighters, then hey, you then upsetting them as well. So hold on, you were feeding two birds with one you're killing two birds with one stone. You were doing that, and then in the next breath, you were then upsetting their fighter because you were going against what they wanted. You see, at the end of the day, you just speak your truth, and people will. You're consistent. You speak your truth. Those who really are for you are for you. And the boxing community is a very fickle community. Let's be honest, 78. I mean, today I'm riding with this guy because he's unbeaten and he's a beast and he's this and he's that and he's going to knock out this person. There's David Price. Good example, David Price. The bandwagon of David Price. Yeah, he's going to beat Klitschko. He's the second coming of Mama. He's this, he's that. He gets knocked out. And then people say, I didn't know David Price. David Price was a bum. He always was a bum. He's always been a bum. So
right.
The community is a fickle community, and people are more determined to save face than to actually say, you know what, I got that wrong.
Right.
You know what? I said some things there that I really shouldn't have said. You know what? That was kind of stupid. You know what? That was racist. You know what? That was prejudice. Or you know what? I'm just uneducated. I'm just uneducated. That's what it is. And it's showing. Can't spell right. Can't, there's a lot of things. And so I think, you can be very demoralized. I went through a phase like it where, it's like, well, I'm black, so therefore I should be doing certain things. I'm trying to put me in a stereotypical box. I'm black, so then everyone in my channel's got to be black. And everything I talk about has got to be black. And regardless of a fighter's not doing something right, then I've got to say, yeah, he's doing it right. No, it's not about... I didn't know boxing was just black. I knew boxing was just human beings getting in the ring and fighting, regardless of colour. If you're good, you're good. And if you're not that good, you're not that good. And it's not me just saying that. Just look on BoxRec. It tells you. If you're good and you've got a good winning record and you fought the good guys, it shows you on your record. You can't lie about who you fought.
Right.
It's there. So it's frustrating, but I think conversation like this need to be had and need to be expressed, and people need to hear these views. So how has this affected you, 78?
Well, it's really, it's got me to the point now where I really don't even, I'm cutting down my circle of people I talk to and communicate with, because I hate finding myself in situations where I'm always the mediator between two people that I get along with, and they don't like each other. They beefing, and then I have to, oh well. Then this will always happen. They say, oh well, 78 is always in the middle of this. It's like, well, how am I to blame if I'm cool with person A and person B, and then they don't like each other? I'm supposed to pick a side and say, okay, I'm over here with person A. It's childish. It's high school nonsense that I'm not gonna engage in. It's like I'm just the people who I see instigating, because that's really the main issue here. A lot of people like to show off to the comment section, and the people in the comment section like to instigate things. I will see people come to the little diss videos. They'll come, one person say, "Oh, good video, man. Yeah, you told him off," and then they'll go to the other guy video and say, "Good video, man." And it's like, I don't understand how people can get played like this, man. And the way it's affected me is, I told myself, 2016, okay, I'm only going to deal with people who stay out of the bullshit, okay? All right? I'm not dealing with anybody else who, because a lot of people, I talk to so many people, just this is my personality. I'm a people person. Yeah. So I talk to a lot of people, and that ends up backfiring on me, because when I talk to a lot of people, what ends up happening is, people start running their mouth and saying things, instigating and trying to cause beef behind the scenes, okay? But publicly they want to put on a different persona, right? But nobody knows the real stories of a lot of these beefs that are going on in the YTBC. A few people really know the real stories of these and how these things started. So I'll just, my thing is, in 2016, I got a lot of things going on in my life. That are positive and that are successful, okay? My children are on the honor roll, doing great, okay? My business is thriving. My YouTube boxing community channel is doing well. So I'm going to focus on the positives and just try to dismiss and stay away from these idiots and the negative energy. And anybody who, I don't care if it's people I know. If you're involved in the nonsense, I'm just going to ignore you and not talk to you. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just how it is.
It's a shame that, fully grown men conduct themselves like kids. It is. And I've seen, and I've sat back and actually, there was one video, I'm not going to mention what the video was. I really am not. I had to chuckle at one channel dissing another channel, and then the channel doing a kind of like a review of the way they got dissed, and then taking the time to diss the other channel back. I mean, I just sort of said, that energy you could have took to doing something educational. You could have done something to tell us a little bit more, done an interview, or you could have done something to educate us. Instead, you've just shown us how silly you both are. And I think to myself, why? What for? What does it prove? You get a few hits for it, you get a few views, but, it doesn't encourage progressive stuff. And, I look at it and I say, so you know what? Thank goodness I'm not involved with any of that. I'm just so glad. And I thank the heavens that I'm not involved with it. And in some ways, I'm kind of glad that we're doing this interview in this way, because I haven't got knowledge of the beefs that are going on in the YouTube community.
Right.
And I don't know if that's going to be of any benefit, kind of like moving forward either. So it's kind of in this dispensation, it's a good time for us to be talking, because you're kind of coming out of a storm and such, and you've got plenty to look back on, I guess.
Yes, and I think also too, you reminded me of something with what you said, is that there are a lot of self-righteous, people in the YTBC. I'm hearing a lot of rumblings now about starting a new YTBC and all this type of nonsense. Negativity is going to follow you wherever you go. Absolutely. You have to face it and deal with it here. This is the YTBC. It's negative energy. It's nonsense going on. And when you know someone is being racist, when you know someone is doing something to provoke, then you need to make a decision whether you still want to follow this person's channel or whatever it is. But don't defend one guy. And then to go back to what I was saying, one guy says he's unsubscribing from me because he's tired of the racism, okay? But yet this same person is commenting and subscribing to a guy who openly calls black channels the N-word, openly says now that white supremacy is supreme and it's okay, and but that's fine. You see, the YTBC is totally okay with that. But when a black channel responds to that, okay, then all of a sudden, it's the same old stuff. If you're black, then you're supposed to take it and take it and take it. Okay, take it and turn the other cheek. All right, and it's just nonsense, man. And the self-righteous people in the YTBC who engage in this, I used to engage in a lot of the diss videos and back and forth. I felt the need to respond to people when they beef with me or whatever, but I'm not doing it anymore. But what I noticed is this: people will say, "Oh, 78, why are you even responding to this? Why are you engaging in this stuff?" Right? But then these same people who are telling me, why am I responding? As soon as someone disrespects them, they respond. Okay? And they engage in this nonsense. So we have to practice what we preach. Okay? That's what we have to do in the YTBC. And the bottom line, it goes back to respecting other people's opinions, because at the end of the day, to be honest with you, I really don't even care if it's a guy who's racist and doesn't like black people in the YTBC. My mission is not to change his opinion. I don't care. But if you want to talk boxing, okay? If you want to talk boxing, then fine. There are many racist people who will watch Michael Jordan play and were smart enough to know that Michael Jordan was the best basketball player, okay? All right? Yeah. Michael Jordan didn't waste his time saying, hey, stop being racist. And no, he went about his business. I don't care that some of these channels are racist channels. They can be racist. That's their life. That's their opinion. What bothers me is the disrespect for others' opinions. On a given situation, who's going to win a fight? And, you're just saying that because you're black. you know, and then black people are all supposed to think the same way apparently. So, you know, if I don't believe that Triple G is if I believe Triple G has made some hypocritical statements and his team has made hypocritical statements when it comes to their intentions in the sport of boxing, and I point those inconsistencies out, okay, then all of a sudden I get hit with, oh, you're a racist, or well, what about Mayweather? And they love to do that. They love to bring up a black fighter, and that's when I know I'm dealing with a racist. If I criticize Gennady Golovkin and I get a comment that says, yeah, but you're saying this about Golovkin, but did you say this about Mayweather? Did you say this about Andre Ward or Adrian Broner? And I ask myself, now why would you name 3 black fighters? Are you trying to suggest that I'm racially biased? Because if you're suggesting that, then that tells me race is on your mind. Because I'm talking about boxing.
There you go. It's interesting because the way I tackle that situation is I just call Abel Sanchez and I say, listen, Abel, some of the things you're saying are pretty... I did an interview yesterday with him. I said, you said in an interview you're willing to take anybody from £154 to £168. He said, I did say in an interview £154 to £168, but I also said if it was financially viable. Boxing is a business. That's what he said in the interview today. He said to me yesterday in the interview, and I said to myself, you know what? That's interesting. I said, you know, you come across as a very good PR man, Abel. He says, well, I've been around Don King and the rest alike, so I guess I've learned very well, he said to me. So, you know, the best way to deal with a situation like that for me is this is what they said. I didn't say that. So if you've got a problem with what Abel Sanchez has got to say, go and direct it at him. I can guarantee you that 90% or 95% of the people listening won't say anything. They'll just leave their little comments in the comment section and move on to the next video.
Yeah.
You know, you can criticize fighters. There's nothing wrong with criticizing fighters, but you know, you're always going to have somebody with an agenda. Once I discover there are people out with an agenda on my channel, usually they get the block button. I get people that come on the live chats and, you know, before I used to get irate and angry about it, but I realised I'm the guy in the power seat, not them. So when they come on my channel and they decide to make a racist comment, they just get blocked from the channel. So they don't get the opportunity to see me again or my work again. So I have to go some other way or create another YouTube channel to do it again. Right. So to me, it's quite funny, to be honest, because I just block them and it's very nice. Rather than get involved and lower myself to their levels of insanity.
Right.
So let's move on. Talk to me about how your experiences about interviewing in the boxing community, or getting interviews, or getting the breaking news. Talk to me about your processes and how you've gone about things.
Well, I actually have an interview later today with John David Jackson. What I usually do is I reach out to the people that I'm interested in interviewing. I don't just do interviews just to interview people. Like, some people I'm just not interested in, Yeah. So I reach out to the people that I'm interested in interviewing or asking or getting an answer to a specific question. And I try to build relationships with them to where I can talk to them when it's necessary. But what I found is that a lot of fighters, particularly fighters, okay, are egomaniacs.
Indeed.
Okay, they are just insanely egomaniacs, and I've never been starstruck like a lot of people will be starstruck. Oh, I'm talking to this guy, that guy. I never felt like that because, like I said, the way I grew up around people who were perceived to be famous in other areas of life, So when I talk to these fighters, I noticed that they're very egotistical, self-centered. They have few of them have respect for the people who actually pay their salaries, the fans. Okay, usually it's I don't want to answer this question, or I don't feel like talking, and blah 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 blah. Okay, and that's fine and dandy, but I'm a real big advocate for the respect of the fans. All right, the fans are the ones who are asked to buy tickets to the fights, order the fight on pay-per-view, watch the fight on television, give it ratings. We're the ones who are asked to do that. But then when the fans have questions for you, you feel the need to say, oh, I don't want to talk to this guy. And then they're so sensitive. If I do a video, I've had a few fighters that I've done videos, and I might have been critical of something that they said or done, or a choice that they made. They'll turn around, and the next time I talk to them on the phone, oh, man, I seen your video, and yeah, man, I don't know if I want to talk to you anymore. So listen, man, you don't pay my salary. Okay, how about you send me $50,000, and then I'll say nothing but positive things about you. Until that day comes, okay, you're just a guy that I interview. I'm not. You're not going to control me by, And they do this to a lot of the so-called media. They try to control them by telling them what they can ask and what they're not going to answer, and then saying, we'll get your credentials taken away if you upset the wrong person. I don't have to worry about that because I don't go to the fights with credentials. If I want to go to the fight, I just go to the fight. I don't need to get in free with a press pass. I'm not waiting in line, with 20 people to ask one guy a question, okay? When I can simply try to call him on the phone. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing that. I'm not standing in line, and I'm not knocking the people who do that. I mean, that's what they do.
They do what they do.
Right. I can't see myself and who I am and how I was raised. I can't see myself standing in a group of men with a camera, and one guy's in the center, and he's, being disrespectful and rude to reporters, and I'm not answering that question. And I would get upset, and I would say something that would probably get me kicked out. So that's why I don't even waste my time going, because you're no better than me. Okay, I started from nothing, and I made something of myself. Okay, you might have more money than me, fine, but you're not gonna disrespect me. Okay, you're not gonna tell me when I ask you a fair question. You're not gonna tell me, "Oh, we're not here to answer questions like that." Next. Oh no, you're not gonna tell me that. No, I will harass the hell out of you. You're not gonna dismiss me like that. So that's why I don't go to those type of events. But yeah, these fighters are they're very emotional. I think the coolest fighter that I met and talked to is Cornelius K9 Bundridge. Coolest dude in the world, man. That dude, I'm telling you, me and K9 talk about just life, Yeah. And he seems like a very genuine brother. He's on the same mission that we're on, Yeah. He's on the same grind that we're on. He's trying to make it to provide for his family. Mm-hmm. He's not trying to, get money and then become a snob and an asshole, like a lot of these other assholes that I used to talk to.
Yep. Yep, I know. People often ask me the question, so Ingram, how come you not got this person on? You got that person? I say, well, hey, this is how it works. They call me. I make initial contact with them. Then they call me all the time. Then they get the big bright lights, and then I have to go for their PR.
Right.
I say, You know what? Screw your PR, because your PR don't know nothing about boxing. Your PR knows nothing about me and our relationship that we had, or I thought we had. So then I've got to line up in a queue of people who don't particularly like you, and they're getting paid to slate you. So I'm really going to do that. No, thank you. So I don't call them. I don't call them. I don't waste my time. And it says a lot about their character.
Absolutely.
And, I've seen a couple of guys that's happened to. Oh, now you can call my PR. I said, all right, cool. Don't call the PR. Don't call them. They get knocked out. And then afterwards say, oh, brother, you can call me anytime you want to.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
That's how it works, isn't it? That's how it works.
I'm going to call you. Yeah, right. I said, yeah, I'll call you. Don't even have them on again. Don't have them on again.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I find that it's more, there are very few in this world that stay the same. And I'll tell you, maybe a handful of people. Tyson Fury is one of them. From challenger to champion, being the same. Peter Fury, from challenger to champion, from like out of nothing, didn't know nothing about Peter Fury, to now being potentially one of the best trainers in the world. Nothing. They haven't changed. They've been the same all the time. Those are two examples already.
Right.
Let me think. Bermain Stavern, when he wasn't champion, when he was champion, and now talking to him now. Another example of the guy that Bino talked to all the time. consistent. Whether they're champion or not, bright lights or not, they've always got the time to talk to you. And there are a few others as well. But, they are... I guess they go over and above. They actually have not only just manners and courtesy, but they respect what you do.
Right,
so don't tell me in one line, yeah, bro, I really respect the work that you do, man. Keep it up. And then when I call you, then you tell me, man, you're gonna have to go from. I really respect you, but you're gonna have to go for my PR. What? What's that? What do you mean? You call me all hours of the night for an interview?
Right.
You know what I mean? We hang out, we talk in a line for an hour after you've done our official interview and it's gone out on YouTube. We're talking for an hour and a half afterwards, talk about how's going on with your family, what you're doing on the weekend, what you're doing this, how's your missus, my missus, your missus are talking, and then suddenly bright lights on and I have to go for your PR who I've never spoken to. Come on, get the hell out of here, man.
Absolutely, man. It's disgusting how they do, and then they would like you said, I can relate to that. How guys would call you when they have something to say. Something going on in boxing, and they got something to say. So you watching a movie with your family or something, you get a phone call. You say, hey, how you doing, brother? What's going on? And yeah, man, you busy? I kind of want to do an interview. I got something to get off my chest, But then all of a sudden, now this is back when, and you can relate to this. It's when nobody's really worried about them. Nobody's thinking about them,
Yeah.
And then when they become champion and they get their first big house and, now they got all the bloodsuckers around them. Now all of a sudden it's, they try to front you off or like dismiss you or something because now all of a sudden, Dan Raphael wants to talk to me, Showtime and HBO wants to talk to me, the big boys want to talk to you now, it's quite disgusting, but it all comes back, it all comes back,
And when their ass gets knocked out, and then nobody else wants to talk to them, and they've suffered their first loss or their second loss, or they've got devastatingly knocked out in a round, or they get destroyed in 2 rounds. Chickens always come home to roost.
Oh, absolutely. Like I'm gonna say it, James Kirkland, man. This guy, I was checking for James Kirkland. He was my favorite fighter. Okay.
Yeah.
I was checking for this dude when nobody gave a damn. Okay. All the breaks he had in his career, going to jail, getting in trouble, all that stuff. Nobody cared. Nobody was talking about this guy. I would reach out to James and talk to him. Most of the time he'd be in the fucking liquor store when I'm talking to him. I can hear the clerk in the background. You want half pint? You want full pint? I can hear it all the time. So I'm talking to this guy and giving him words of encouragement and all this stuff. And all the time before he got the Canelo fight, he wanted the Canelo fight so badly. Then he gets the Canelo fight, all right, and just, I don't know, big time now. He don't talk to me no more, He's big time, He leaves Ann Wolf. He's not talking to nobody, as if somebody did him wrong or something, And that's how these guys are, man. They just they forget who is actually in their corner, what I mean? Who was supporting them when nobody else cared. So
the
go ahead, bro.
For that is they don't know how to act right.
Yeah. It's just disgusting, man. Yeah.
It's disgusting, but I think that's why a lot of YouTube viewers don't quite understand it. We're not Sky or Showtime or we're not paid journalists. It's different. You're a paid journalist, and even then, the interviews that you get is 3, 4, 5 minutes, nothing in depth.
Right.
And so I think for me, if I were a fighter, the more that's on me, the better. But hey, you've got that person that's in your corner that you can trust. You've built a relationship over the years. Maybe they don't value it like that. But
no, they use us as stepping stones, man. They use us as stepping stones until they get knocked down to reality. When they get knocked back down to reality, then all of a sudden, like I remember, who was it? Was it Hank Lundy?
Yes.
I think it was Hank Lundy. I think we were talking to one day, interviewing, and he had a big fight coming up, and we were like, yeah, look, man, I told him, I said, Hank, look, man, you cool right now. I said, man, you win this fight, don't start acting funny, man. Remember us, oh, yeah, man, no problem, man. He wins the fight and don't hear from him. And since then, he's got his ass whooped a couple times. But that's just, I mean, that's how these guys are, you know.
Yeah,
And I refuse to chase these guys around. I'm not going to these fights and stuff just to talk to them. I'm not.
No. The only time I do something like that is people that I've actually respect and know and I actually have a good relationship with, a consistent relationship with. I'll get on a plane and I'll go to see those guys. But otherwise, no. Not at all.
Yep.
Same Hank Lundy. I remember setting up an interview with him. Him saying, "Yeah, I'm there. I'll interview up there," and then not turn up to do the interview. Or, you know, I remember a few others. Like they give you a number, you ring them. They promise to do the interview. The phone's locked off, or they're not answering the phone. It's busy. There's always something. And then you never hear from them after that. So I said, you know what? The best thing for me to do now is just focus on the trainers, the managers, and the promoters. And if you know, because they're consistent. Most of the time, they're consistent, and I think that, unfortunately, unless you're prepared to have these sort of interviews with fighters and say, you know what, I'm not going to try and build any sort of relationship with you, or just be cold. Then the energy and the whole fire behind the interview and building that camaraderie in a relationship for future interviews, because when you have that sort of good relationship, then you can ask the difficult questions and them not feel offended because they know what's coming. That's what you want to be at. To be able to have that in-depth interview, so fans can say, I didn't know that, I didn't realise that. So they can speak openly. They don't have to be cutting and and ahhing. They feel kind of safe talking to you, but it's okay. They can get sold down the river by other, not mentioning certain journalists' names, but certain journalists will sell them down the river and expose them and talk about their dark past and all the rest of it.
Right.
We're not going to do that. That's not our intentions.
Absolutely. Because I'm sure we both know secrets about fighters that we never told anybody.
Absolutely.
And we don't get respected for that, though. These guys, they're snaky in a minute. I know so much dirt on guys, and I never said nothing about it, And nobody said it. Nobody knows nothing about it but me or you,
yes.
And... but that's how these fighters are, man. They're big-headed and ungrateful.
Yeah, and the thing now, there's a couple of fighters now I'm watching, and you can see their ego has gone completely out of control. And it's only a matter of time before it gets checked.
Oh, yeah. It'll happen.
There'll be a few getting checked in 2016 for sure. And it's not hating on fighters. Let's get this correct. It's not hating on fighters. It's not even hating the fighter. It's the disrespect and the almost not being aware, forgetting your roots. That's what I would call it as well.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
So let's talk about big fights. The first one I'm going to talk about to you, right? Thurman v. Porter.
Thurman Porter, that's a man, speak of the devil. Oh man, it's
say anything.
Well,
was that well timed or not?
Brilliant. It's like this, Thurman Porter is a tough fight for me because I've been a fan of both of them for so long and a fan of both of their styles.
Yep.
And I've watched both of them. I went into every fight looking at how each guy could win. Like, I watched Sean Porter for every fight. I say, okay, how can Sean win? I look at his highlights. I highlight his strengths, and the same thing with Keith Thurman. Mm-hmm. And I think this fight is going to come down to who can impose their will, because Keith he uses his legs very well, but when he stands his ground, okay, can he stand his ground with Sean Porter and not get pushed backwards? Can he do what Kell Brook did to Sean Porter? Okay, and that's what we're gonna find out, because if Keith moves too much in unnecessary movement, it's gonna look like he's running. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's gonna look like he's running, and Sean could easily get those rounds if Sean Porter's relentless. He'll hunt you down. Mm-hmm. And the other side is if if Sean Porter sometimes comes in, gets like a days ago, get a little lazy when he comes in, and is not very aware sometimes, and that's why Adrian Broner caught him with that left hook.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Keith Thurman being a way more devastating puncher than Adrian Broner, if Keith Thurman can catch Sean Porter coming in, he can be successful.
Okay.
But I'm not sure that Keith is going to be able to stay away from Sean Porter for 12 rounds. This fight, they're going to engage, and this is going to be a firefight, you know what I mean, and may the best man win.
I'm going to throw a few things up at you here.
Mm-hmm.
Since the Jesus Soto Carras fight, Keith Thurman has looked to me pretty ordinary as a puncher. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's got into the habit now of, if I can't get you out of there in the first 2 rounds, I'm going to get onto my back foot and I'm going to dance around the ring for 12 rounds, and like a sniper, occasionally jumping in with big wide hooks. He's very uncomfortable when he's on the ropes, doesn't know how to hold, and doesn't seem to know what to do when a fighter's up on his chest. And I've noticed that his punch power, I know you say he hits a lot harder, but he hit Luis Collazo flush, and Collazo didn't go down. And Collazo was taking just two steps or half a step, and closing Keith down. And this was a guy that was over the hill, according to Keith. And Keith slammed Amir Khan for him fighting Collazo.
Mm-hmm.
So when Keith fought him, you thought, oh yeah, well, Keith's a dynamite puncher, he'll get Collazo out in a few rounds. How many times did Khan knock down Collazo?
3 maybe.
How many times did Keith knock down Collazo?
None. I don't think none.
0. And in fact, if we go back and look at that fight, Collazo, as he started closing the range down and working Keith to the body, as we saw in that round where he almost doubled over, you know, questions have to be asked of whether Keith was as dedicated in the gym as he should be.
No, he wasn't.
Whether his ego is getting out of control. Questions to be asked, because he hasn't looked great for me since the Collazo fight. I mean, since the Soto Carras fight. The fight against Bundu, he was on the back foot against Bundu. Then he fought Guerrero, and that was a tough fight, I thought, against Guerrero, with a big swelling he had against Guerrero, who really, let's be honest, came up from, was a lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
This is Robert Guerrero now. I mean, if you're this concussive one-punch knockout artist, as Keith is telling us, he should have got rid of Guerrero, should have knocked Guerrero out cold. Didn't happen. So, who of note, has Keith Thurman knocked out with one punch in the welterweight division at top level? Name me one.
You can't name anyone he's knocked out with one punch. It's a top level guy. You know, it's always Keith Thurman is not a one punch knockout artist. You know, I think Deontay Wilder is a one punch knockout artist. Mm-hmm. Keith Thurman is he has to put them together. You know what I mean? Yep. He has to put a few together to get rid of you. You know, he throws heavy punches with his whole body. He throws them, and Keith has to sit down on his punches. He can't fight off the back foot and knock somebody out with one punch. Exactly. He has to sit. You know, he has to sit down on his punches and be dominant in a fight. You know, and I think Keith gets frustrated in fights when he sees that a guy's taking his power, and like you say, he gets on the back foot and starts dancing and moving. But I think he's kind of robbing himself of his potential, because the movement is good when necessary. Sometimes it's not necessary when he does it. And I think that, 2015 could have been, I mean, he still won PBC Fighter of the Year and all that, but I think 2015 could have been a takeover year for Keith Thurman if he had been grounded. But I think a lot of his issues are outside the ring rather than in the ring. I think that he's going through some psychological changes, and meaning that I think that he is feeling himself a little too much right now. Mm-hmm. He's feeling himself too much. Mm-hmm. Sean Porter is feeling himself, but in a good way, because Sean Porter is he's like, hey, I'm the man. I'm confident right now. I beat Adrian Broner, and he's already had a loss. So right, so that's not. He doesn't have this aura of invincibility. Sean Porter's on the grind and he's confident, but Keith, I believe, has this aura of invincibility that it's good to have. However, if he does lose a fight, and eventually he will lose a fight, everybody will eventually, but when he loses a fight, will he be able to bounce back as easy as he says he will? I'm not afraid to let it go.
Yeah, he keeps saying that. I don't.
Right.
That's not business sense. That is not good, because in this era, this dispensation, this time, if your O goes, a lot of things go with it. You know, you lose a fight, and you say, oh yeah, it was a good fight, and you lost, but your marketability, you can't no longer market yourself as being an unbeaten fighter. You know, you look at Mayweather. His O meant so much to him. Everybody wanted to see Mayweather get beat, but that's what he could sell himself on, and that O, you know, has allowed him to get to where, even with Deontay Wilder, that O means a lot in this era. Not in the era of Ali and Hagler and Hearns, because A fought B, B fought A, and C and D, and they all fought one another. That wasn't a problem. But in this era, it seems to be more about, not about fighting the best, but seeming to be the best without fighting the best. More PR and spin doctoring and promoters throwing out smoke screens, and fighters claiming to be the best without actually fighting the best, and finding excuses, whether it be weight or negotiating with money or TV deals. You know what I'm saying here?
Right.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that I'm more concerned about if he loses, will he be able to mentally bounce back, or will that destroy him, that loss? You know, because I think that the Collazo body shot bruised his ego, okay? I believe that the hematoma of Guerrero bruised his ego.
Yep.
And Sean Porter is capable, okay, of destroying his ego, okay? If that happens, then if Sean Porter goes in there and fights his fight, and, Kenny Porter and Sean, they know Keith Thurman. They know how. I mean, they sparred several times. So, and I've heard stories from both sides about that sparring. Yep. So, we're gonna see what happens, man. But, I hope that. I know Sean Porter can take a loss. I know he can. He's already shown he can take a loss and bounce back. I don't know if Keith can.
Let me throw something at you here. You know as much as I do that Keith and Sean are close. Very close. Keith told me way back that him and Sean are like family. And he said that they go to barbecues, often have their families going over to one another's houses. And Keith said to me, look, back in the day, the only reason me and Sean Porter would fight is in a unification bout with lots of money on the table. Otherwise, why are we fighting? It's too much. We're family. So it's not going to happen like that. So all of a sudden now I'm watching these dates start coming up. I'm thinking, what happened? What changed? What shifted?
I think that fan demand, and also the fact that there's money to be made, and I think that I remember Kenny Porter telling me before that, he said something similar, like, look, Keith is, we cool with Keith, and it's not the right time. This is when Sean was still the IBF champion. He said it's not the right time to fight Keith yet, but if Keith wins that WBA belt, then we'll come together for a unification bout, And Thurman was saying something similar, that they would fight for unification and everything. But I think that the fan demand right now is what's making this fight happen, because there is some resistance. There is people who are saying, like, it's not the right time. They should wait on the fight or whatever. But I'm cool with the fight. I was against it, like last year or the year before last. I was like, nah, I don't want to see these guys fight yet. I want to see these guys fight other people and then come together. But then Sean Porter lost to Kell Brook, and then Kell Brook doesn't seem to be interested in fighting anybody except for some Joe Blow guys. Okay, So if that's what messed everything up, from my perspective. And then you got Tim Bradley. He's, fighting Pacquiao again, and he's with Top Rank, and they're not crossing over doing any matchmaking. So it gets, and then Amir Khan's not willing to fight anybody, except for Mayweather Pacquiao. So these guys are now in a position where they're pretty much the last people standing over at PBC as far as marketability and money. And I think that's probably why the fight's being made.
Let's talk about Kell Brook. Do you think it's his fault, or do you think it's the fact that he's not signed Al Heyman yet?
Brook, as far as why he's not, as far as why he's not fighting the big marquee guys.
Yeah.
No, I think that's Eddie Hearn doing that. I think that because Eddie Hearn has a good relationship with Al Heyman,
right?
And I think that they could fight. Brook Heyman would love to put Brook in there with some of his welterweights, Earl Spence especially, or the Keith Thurmans or whatever. But I think that Eddie Hearn, being a promoter and being very slick, is trying to stretch out every dollar he can get. And he's saying, look, my guy's good. I don't know if he's that good, though. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep building his record. He's undefeated. He's like, 35-0 or something? Yeah. He's 35-0. I'm going to keep building his record. We're going to fight guys who are legitimate guys, but just not marquee names, okay? So we're going to fight the Beziers of the world and the JoJo Dans or whatever, and the guys who are ranked, and get him some title defenses. So when, 20 years from now, when people are looking at the welterweights and say, hey, Kell Brook was pretty good, yeah, man, look right here. All the historians 20 years from now are going to say, well, yeah, Kell Brook, look, he had 5 title defenses, Did you know Kell Brook had 5 title defenses? So and he fought no one. He really pretty much fought no one. Yeah. But Kell Brook he could fight. He could have fought Tim Bradley at one point in time. The only person that's ducking Kell Brook is Amir Khan. Everybody else he could have fought whenever he wanted to.
Okay, what are your thoughts on Earl Spence?
I think he's good. I think he's a good fighter. He's kind of what's the word?
Methodical?
Yes. I was about to say methodical. Yeah. But yeah, he's kind of methodical. He's very accurate. He's very he punches hard. At least from the guys he's fighting, it looks like he punches hard. He seems to be grounded and level-headed as of right now. So he has a very good skill set. I like how he pivots and stuff like that, and when he throws his punches, he fights well in the inside as well. I like Earl Spence. I think he's a good fighter. But these other guys like Thurman, Porter, and all the welterweights, really, the top names are not going to fight Earl Spence unless they have to. They're not going to just fight this guy because he calls them out. They're going to say, no, hell no. I called out Mayweather and he didn't fight me. I called out Pacquiao. Pacquiao didn't fight me. I'm not fighting you. You know what I mean? And that's how they're going to do it.
Yep,
yeah.
There's a guy that I'm really hot on, really like him as a fighter. I got a lot of time for him. Rashidi Ellis. Do you know him?
Rashidi Ellis. No, I heard that name before. Somebody else was mentioning him.
I've done a couple of interviews with him. He was number 1 ranked welterweight in America as an amateur.
Mm-hmm.
He's recently signed with Golden Boy. And, he's fast hands, good footwork, good defense, good power.
Right.
Roy Jones-esque.
Okay.
Very, very good fighter. So I'm surprised you don't know him, but yeah, check him out.
Rashidi Ellis?
Rashidi Ellis, yeah. Speedy.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard somebody else was telling me to check him out. I never got time to check him out, but I'm going to do that.
Okay. Let's talk about more world boxing. Fury Klitschko. What were your thoughts on that fight?
I thought it was a boring fight, horribly boring, but it was very much exciting to me because I knew Klitschko was losing. Okay, yep. And I wanted him to lose because I think Klitschko was horrible for heavyweight boxing. Right. Klitschko is a great fighter. Okay, we know that. Can't take that away from him, but he's boring as ever. All right. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how anyone can say Mayweather's boring and Rigondeaux's boring, but Klitschko was exciting. Like, I don't understand this. Listen, Andre Ward's boring, but Klitschko is what? Like, what is he? The guy is a technician, of course. He's a surgeon in the ring, yep. But he's horribly boring. He does not take risks in the fight. He can totally outclass someone and be so far more superior than them, but he gets in the ring and doesn't take risks, and he'll stand there and hug someone as soon as they get close to him. He pushes people head down if they're smaller than him and hops on their back. It's just ridiculous. So I love the fact that Fury was able to defeat him, and I figured that would happen. Initially, I picked Fury, and then I got scared at the last minute and picked Klitschko, But I wish I would have stuck with my original pick. But yeah, I think Tyson Fury is better for the heavyweight boxing because he's controversial. Yep. He has a lot of charisma. Yep. Talks a lot of trash and things like that. And I think that he can sell a fight. He can get you interested in a fight real quick.
It was funny because we'll go back to the YouTube community again. I had people in the YouTube community say to me, "What are you worrying about Tyson Fury for? What are you worrying about Peter Fury for? Waste of time, man. What are you worrying about them boys? You're always kissing them guys' ass. What are you kissing them guys' ass for?" Now, right. Peter Fury, everyone talks about Peter Fury. Everyone's talking about Tyson Fury. Oh, yeah, we always knew Tyson was going to be champion. Yeah, Peter Fury, good trainer. What?
Yep,
Same people that I've interviewed and you've dissed me for interviewing them are the same people now you're going in interviewing and getting interviews with. Go figure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Why is this?
Well, I think this, people want to be a part of the winning team. People want to jump, people jump on bandwagons. I mean, like crazy. Yeah. I'm telling you, man. I mean, we both saw with Keith Thurman. I mean, look, we were like the first people interviewing Keith Thurman, I believe.
Yep.
And then out of nowhere, and I mean, back then people used to say, "Oh, you overhyping Thurman. Thurman, he hasn't fought nobody. What are you doing?" And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's like, "Yeah, Thurman, yeah, he's the man." And same thing with Sean Porter. Yeah. I was a fan of Porter, and people laughed, "Oh, Porter's sloppy. He's trash, and he's this, he's that, and you're always kissing him and his dad's ass." And then he wins some fights, and he beats Broner, and yeah, Porter's the man. Keith Thurman's ducking Porter, man, and people are trying to tell me this. Is it like how are you telling me this when I was the one talking about the guy?
And Terence Crawford, another one, did interview Terence Crawford, and when I interviewed Crawford, Crawford, he crap, he's rubbish. Usually, don't know him, can't fight, can't box, he's crap. Now, he's pound for pound, he's one of the greatest. He's gonna be one of the greatest of all time. He's this, he's that. I said, hold on. The other day he was crap. Now he's jumped to pound for pound, one of the greatest. Okay, what happened? You see the line?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these same people who are boxing experts, and know so much about boxing, and are week on, week out doing videos, challenge them to actually do prospect videos. These guys these are the 5 guys that I put my boxing knowledge on that can end up being world champions because they've got the technical abilities. Get them to do videos like that. They won't do that.
Right, because they're afraid.
They'll give you 10 reasons why they're crap, they can't box, they've got no chin. They'll tell you all that stuff. And then when they become champion, oh yeah, we knew beforehand. So do videos like that. Put videos out there like that early. Show your knowledge by putting videos out and showing, before the guy becomes champion, your predictions. Whether that person becomes champion or not. So
Absolutely.
We really do know if you know your boxing or you don't know your boxing. That's the test.
That's right. I said the same thing about Deontay Wilder, and people, they laughed, and you believe this man Wilder's, he sucks, man. He's not going to win the title. Stavern's right hand, and stuff like that. And then if you look at like the young boy Jesse Hart, yes. I've been talking about him for a long time, and he's going to make it. He's going to have a title, and you'll see the fanboys come out of nowhere and start trying to educate me about Jesse Hart, Yeah, they'll pop up.
While we're at it, Brooke Khan, your thoughts?
If that fight takes place,
June maybe.
I think that Khan definitely has a chance to beat Brooke, but I just don't. I think that Brooke isn't too much in Khan's head. I think Brooke is going to be so confident in that fight that I think that. And he knows. I mean, the word is out on Khan. Khan's chin is suspect. So Brooks is going to go right in there and just, it's going to be like somebody throwing an egg against the wall. He's going to crack the hell out of Khan's chin, man. I got Brooke winning that fight in like 3 rounds, man.
That's what I can see that. I can see that as well happening. What's your take on Frampton Quigg?
Oh, my God, these guys, man. Frampton and Quigg, man. These guys here, man. I am just disgusted by those two guys because I feel like they've gotten away with murder when it comes to just avoiding Rigondeaux, shamelessly avoiding this man. They avoided this guy, and the boxing fans give them a pass on it. And it's like, oh, well, they're trying to fight each other. Listen, they're just now fighting each other. These guys have been around for a long time and haven't fought Rigondeaux. When they all had opportunities to do it, they all turned it down. Leo Santa Cruz, another one. But I really don't care who wins that fight because I believe that the winner of that fight is simply food for Rigondeaux.
Well, hold on a second. I totally understand your logic in that. I understand your basis on this. But at least Frampton's had I've heard Frampton on tape say, you know what, this is a fight between us two guys, but I still recognise as Rigondeaux as the number one. He's actually said Rigondeaux is number one in the world. So he admitted that, which takes something, because he could also say, you know what, Rigondeaux is not the best in the world. He said, I want to fight Rigondeaux because he's going to challenge myself. You know, that's one thing saying him. There's another thing signing a contract to go and do it.
Right.
I think the winner would go out and fight Rigondeaux. I think. You don't think that'll happen?
Well, yeah. I think they've been ordered to. I think the WBA, ordered the winner of that fight to face Rigondeaux.
And between Frampton and Quigg, who do you think has a better chance against Rigondeaux?
Oh boy. I would have to say, I think Quigg. I think Quigg to me is a little better than Frampton, man. Frampton is so basic to me, you know. I think he's very basic, you know what I mean? I think Quigg has the better all-around boxing ability. I think he would do better at Rigondeaux, meaning he might be able to go, last two more rounds than Frampton.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about. You give me a topic. You talk about something. You give me something that's on your mind in terms of world boxing at the moment. Apart from Golovkin, which has just come to my mind.
Apart from that guy,
and I'll come back to that Gennady Golovkin thing in a minute.
I guess light heavyweight.
Yes.
We got Pascal and Kovalev coming up.
Death match 2, right?
Absolutely, man. This is brutal, man. And I'm hoping. All I'm really hoping for is that Pascal comes out of this fight alive. Really, man. Because I sympathize with him. He says he's fighting for. He says he's fighting for black people and stuff like this because he thinks that he says Kovalev is racist and whatnot, and that's fine. But reality is reality, man. And the only way he beats Kovalev is pure luck. He has to land something just vicious on Kovalev and unleash an assault. Kovalev, I think, is going to try to kill him this time. And, I really believe he's going to try to kill him. Kovalev's been unusually quiet throughout this. And I think he's put in his mind, I'm going to try to kill Jean Pascal. And I'm not joking. I think you're going to see it. If he gets Pascal in trouble, Pascal should just, take the knee and get counted out because Kovalev, if he gets him on the ropes hurt, man, I think he's going to try to hurt him. Because that first fight, it was some scary moments in that fight,
Yeah, they were. Let me throw some stuff at you. I said to Abel Sanchez, everybody hypes up Freddie Roach, but Abel, let's be honest, Freddie Roach is an attack coach. He's a guy that teaches attack. He don't know about defense. And he said, look at it this way, Ingram. Freddie Roach may give Pascal a better attack, so he lands more accurate punches against Kovalev, which would mean Kovalev would throw less punches back at Pascal, which would create more opportunities. Look at it that way.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about. What about catch and shoot? As soon as Kovalev lands, catch and shoot. That's what Sanchez was thinking. What about that? Making Pascal more accurate. And in Kovalev wanting to go for the knockout, leaves himself open to getting caught with big shots by Pascal. What do you think of that?
Yeah, Freddie Roach is a good trainer.
Yes.
but he's overrated. He is the Phil Jackson of coaches. I mean, Freddie Roach gets people that are already good and gets the credit for their wins. Like Cotto was already a good fighter. Cotto was already going to be a Hall of Famer before he got with Freddie Roach. Then you have Manny Pacquiao, who was already a good fighter, and Freddie Roach got him. You got Freddie Roach trained Mike Tyson at one point in time, who was already, his legacy was cemented already. And then I heard Freddie Roach say that he was given an offer to train Luis Ortiz and Chocolito.
Yes.
And it's like, why is Freddie Roach getting all these offers to train guys who are already good? So it's like they want him to be the greatest coach of all time or something, trainer. It's like, come on, man. There's other people who have built fighters and turned them into champions. Freddie Roach just takes them and kind of like guides them and makes, puts them in good matchups and stuff like that to highlight his work. But there are a lot of other trainers that are better trainers than Freddie Roach.
Do you think it could be a promotional thing where anybody who gets referred to a referral fee, so anytime they get referred to Freddie Roach, Roach gives them a referral fee, and every time that they fight, they get part of that referral fee as well?
And this is definitely possible, definitely.
That would be incentive. I heard Evander Holyfield was suggesting that Vladimir Klitschko leave Bashir and Banks and head to Freddie Roach for the rematch. But at one point, I believe Freddie Roach was already training Klitschko. So what are your thoughts about that?
No, Klitschko, he doesn't need to be with Freddie Roach. Klitschko, this is another thing. See, his legacy is already cemented, and now Freddie Roach wants to step in and get a few easy wins with Klitschko. No. He did the same thing with James Toney. It's like Freddie Roach is just not that good of a. He's good. He's just not great. He's not a great trainer.
Let's throw another one straight into the mix. The fireman, Teddy Atlas.
Mm-hmm.
What about him as a trainer?
I think Teddy Atlas is an excellent trainer. I think that Teddy Atlas knows boxing. He knows the ins and outs of boxing. He pays attention to the strategic points of what a fighter is doing wrong in the ring. And then on top of that, when it comes to motivation, there's nobody better. You know what I mean? He knows how to put a fire in the belly of his fighter. He knows how to, motivate them and get them going. And I think a lot of times fighters you have to be a humble fighter to work with Teddy Atlas, though, because he'll talk shit to you. He'll tell you if you suck, you suck. He'll tell you if you're fighting like garbage, like he did Michael Moore.
Yep.
He'll definitely do that, and I think you can't have a big ego working with Teddy Atlas. But I think Teddy Atlas is a better trainer than Freddie Roach, in my opinion. He just hasn't worked with as many people.
Okay, interesting. Let's go back to Gennady Golovkin, his rise. Abel Sanchez. What are your thoughts?
Golovkin, man, good fighter, man. I thought that, like I said, I was a Golovkin fan. I used to watch his fights, early on. I think I can't remember what was the first Golovkin fight I watched. Who was it? I can't remember the first fight, but it was a few years ago. And I like his technique in the ring. I like the way he goes about his business. Very hard puncher. Very solid chin as well. Good boxing fundamentals learned by Abel Sanchez. But I think that what's happening now with Golovkin is that his promotional team they attempted to make him a superstar by overhyping him, okay? And that backfired because when they overhyped him and told people, oh, he'll do this, he'll do that, and then they had to start backtracking. Like Abel said that, oh, yeah, we'll fight anyone from 154 to 168. And then once people from those weight divisions start calling him out, he decided to say, well, no, we'll only go down to 154 for Mayweather. And we'll only go to 168 if it's financially feasible, blah, 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 all right? Which is another way of saying we'll fight anybody we want to, okay? We're not fighting Andre Ward at 168, but we'll fight Froch. And it's not because Froch is the gonna make so much more money. No, that's baloney. Because if you cared about money so much, then you wouldn't have been fighting Asamanu Adama. You wouldn't have been fighting Willie Monroe. Okay, they're fighting guys who are going to highlight Gennady Golovkin's abilities and make him look like a monster, and that's a good promotion. But I think that the gig is up. I think people know now that Team Golovkin is worried about certain styles, okay, like Andre Ward's style, even Arsenal Laura style, which I think Golovkin would knock out Laura. But
really?
Yeah, I do. I think he would knock out Arsenal Laura. But the thing is, he doesn't want to fight Laura. All right, his team is not comfortable with him fighting Laura because Laura could possibly end. Yeah, he could embarrass him. He could possibly end the knockout streak. All right, Laura could come in there and stick and move all night long, and what people will call a boring fight. Mm-hmm. All right, and then Golovkin looks like trash. Mm-hmm. So they want to stay away from guys like that, and they want to fight. And their excuse is, "Oh, we want to fight guys who come to fight." No, you want to fight guys who come in chin first, so you can get rid of them.
Abel Sanchez said that to me yesterday. He said that the Lara fight isn't interesting because Lara's gone backwards since he fought Canelo. Even if you think Ingram that he beat Canelo, who has he fought since he beat Canelo? Whereas you look at Canelo, his career's gone from strength to strength. You know, in terms of names, who's Lara fought? I said, so you're saying Lara has to get a good fight, a couple of good wins, and his belt at middleweight, and then you'd fight him. Gennady would fight him. So that's a possibility.
Yeah, see, possibility. Yeah, he says, see, very, very clever wordplay. See, because now when you talk to him again, just say Laura comes in and beats Peter Quiller and then Danny Jacobs. Okay, let's just say that happens. Laura beats Peter Quiller and Danny Jacobs, and then
go back and ask him.
Right, you ask him again, and he'll say, "Well, I never said we would definitely fight him. I said, that's what they do. They're very clever. You know,
he's very smart, Abel Sanchez. I'll give him that. Very, very smart. So, Gennady Golovkin and this thing about Billy Joe Saunders. What are your thoughts on that?
Billy Joe Saunders is a disgrace to me. I think that he has talent. You know, Billy Joe has talent. But he's a disgrace to me in the sense that he is obviously terrified of Golovkin. Obviously. He respects Golovkin too much as a fellow fighter in the fellow weight division. Golovkin's not some all-time great guy where you can look back and say, oh, I would never fight him. I have so much respect for him. No, this is a guy who's currently fighting right now who is perceived to be the best middleweight in the boogeyman of the middleweight division. And Billy Joe Saunders is telling Chris Eubank, oh, well, Golovkin will beat me and you in the same night, you know, and, I need 18 months at least before I'm ready. Listen, you can't say that if you are a champion. If you're not a champion, fine. You can say, well, I'm not ready for Golovkin, and people can say, okay, that's admirable. That's. But if you are a champion, you cannot say there are people in your division who you're not ready to fight, and then still have my respect at least. I think Billy Joe Saunders he's terrified, and I think that if he does fight Golovkin, it will be for the money, and he will go in there, and the first punch he gets hit with, he's laying down. Yep, he's going to lay down.
Well, he's from a travelling community, so I think that Billy Joe Saunders probably would give him a good fight. I don't know how long the fight would last. I don't know. I mean, I've met Billy on a number of occasions, but I think he's just being honest. I think he's being honest. He's speaking out what a lot of fighters wouldn't say. So I can respect him for that point, because he's saying, look, I ain't ready for him. I weren't ready for him then. I've just been Andy Lee. Certainly, Andy Lee's no Golovkin, and he's not deluding himself. I mean, look at David Lemieux. Here's a good example. David Lemieux became champion, and what does he do in his first fight? He goes and fights Gennady Golovkin. Nobody talks about Lemieux now.
Yeah, but that's bad promotion, because when Lemieux fought Golovkin, Lemieux should already be back in the ring with someone else. Lemieux should be fighting Canelo right now in May. But Oscar has other plans, and they're going to do other things with it, whatever. But Lemieux should be talked about right now, and Lemieux ran into hiding instead of doing interviews and being out there. The same way fighters used to call us to keep their name relevant, okay? Lemieux should be doing that. He should be calling these networks, and he should be talking to Oscar. Hey, get me back in the ring as soon as possible. And I admire David Lemieux for stepping up fighting Gennady Golovkin. Well, he didn't have to. He could have played the game everybody else was playing. But I admire him for stepping up and taking that challenge. But Billy Joe Saunders is, I don't respect him just because he's honest. I mean, like I said in one of my videos, it's like, if you're a rapist, you're a rapist. You don't get props from me for saying, well, I admit I did rape the girl. And the other guy says, oh, well, I didn't do it, but he did do it. You're still a rapist to me. And Billy Joe Saunders is still a coward. Whether he admits he's a coward or not, I think that you cannot, put it this way, okay? I wouldn't fight Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua. I wouldn't fight him, okay? Mm-hmm. But if I was the heavyweight champion, I would fight him. And even if I was afraid of fighting, I would never give them that psychological edge and letting them know that I'm afraid of them. I would never give them that psychological edge. I would lie, all right? I would lie as much as I could, okay? And it's no brownie points for honesty. I would just lie and say, hey, I'm going to fuck him up. I'm going to fuck up Anthony Joshua. You just wait to get in the ring. You got to do that,
Yeah, but that as well doesn't do well, does it? Because when you do all that talking, look at David Haye. All that talking, he's going to do this to Klitschko, he's going to do that to Klitschko. Backfired bad. Look what happened. He ran around the ring for 12 rounds. And then he brought his toe out afterwards.
Yeah.
So it can backfire on you. So
it can, yeah, absolutely.
I think he's damned if he do and damned if he don't. If he turns around and says, I can... Look at Chris Eubank Jr. I can beat Gennady Golovkin. He says that. But yet he's getting mocked now for saying he can beat Gennady Golovkin, and then he loses against Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders says that he doesn't think he's ready for Gennady Golovkin, and he gets slammed for it as well. So really, you've seen both sides of the spectrum. The only difference is Billy Joe Saunders hasn't lost yet. That's the only difference. And actually, Billy Joe Saunders has gone on to be world champion, British, Commonwealth, European. He was the best British, best Commonwealth, best in Europe, and now, well, it's debatable because Golovkin didn't fight for the European title. But world championship, now he's world champion. So, I guess, first defence, do you really want to make your first defence against Gennady Golovkin? When you could make maybe a third or fourth defence against Gennady Golovkin for lots more money? I don't know. Is it?
Yeah. It is. See, if I understand the game that's being played, but if for business, but I just feel that Billy Joe shouldn't have said that public. Like those are the things that you think about, right? But you don't say it publicly, and where people can say, like, even what his fans supposed to think. Like his fans, just say if his fans out there who think, man, Billy Joe, he's the best middleweight. This is my guy, and then he comes out, clearly afraid of Golovkin, and then you just sit there like, oh wow, that's how Michael Spink's fans felt. I'm sure when in the build up to the Tyson fight when Spink says, I mean, I have to be honest, it feels good to have some terror in my life. and you're thinking, like, what the hell? And that's when you knew Spinks was going to die early. This guy said terror in his life.
Yeah, I guess I could see if like somebody asked Anthony Joshua, could you beat Deontay Wilder? And he went and said, well, you know what? And he was probably in a press conference, and he turned to Dillian White and said, you know what, Deontay Wilder can beat me and you on the same night.
Right.
When you look at it that way, and you blow it up that proportions, it's the same thing, same principle. Whether it be Billy Joe Saunders or Anthony Joshua, it's the same thing. And for that sense, I can understand what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Damn. Is there anything else in world boxing that you see at the moment? Tomorrow tonight's fight, Spilka versus Wilder. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a good fight, man. I think a lot of people are sitting here saying the fight it's a garbage fight and it's an easy fight for Wilder. This is not an easy fight for Wilder. It's not. Spilka is definitely capable of pulling off the upset if Wilder is not absolutely focused in this fight. I think that Wilder, I said before in my prediction video, I think Wilder has to go in here about business and he has to look devastating. He has to look like the reigning heavyweight champion. He has to look destructive, okay, against Spilka. He cannot go in here and have another Duhaupas type fight where it's very exciting, but you see all his vulnerabilities. He has to bring back some of that aura of invincibility because Wilder is knocking people out. Okay, he's like what 34-0 with 33 knockouts or something, something to that effect. But the problem is when Mike Tyson had a record like that, nobody wanted to fight him. But with Wilder, everybody wants to fight him. So it's like they see vulnerabilities there, and you're knocking people out, and they still want to fight you. Then it's something wrong. Wilder needs to be about business, and I would love to see an early knockout of Spilka. I think Wilder Spilka is definitely open for the right hand. He keeps his hands down a little too low, and I think Wilder can definitely crush him if he goes in there about business. You know.
Ronnie Shields, does he play a part in this fight?
It's possible. Ronnie's a good trainer now. Ronnie, he's definitely underrated, underappreciated in the boxing world. It's possible because Ronnie. Ah, man, damn it! I wish you wouldn't have brought that up, man. Because I like that. Oh man, I like Ronnie Shields, man, and I like to root for Ronnie Shields fighters, man. But yeah, this is gonna be it. Ronnie could if Spilka lands. Because this is how I envision Spilka, if he does win, how he beats Wilder. Right hand, left hook. And I think that combination right there, the lead right hand and then coming with the left hook, I think that can put Wilder down. And if that does work, it's definitely the credit to Ronnie Shields because I saw some footage before Ronnie Shields teaching one of the Charlo brothers that effective combination. And if that works, then it's definitely Ronnie Shields.
See, I know that Spilka wasn't properly in shape for the fight against Jennings. I do know that.
Right.
I found out after the fact. He wasn't dedicated. He was a bit, I don't know, just a bit full of himself. And I think he's now a bit more dedicated with Ronnie Shields. So I've understood since the Jennings fight, the defeat has made him probably a better fighter. And Spilka, he's not going to be intimidated by Wilder. That's the first thing. Second thing is being a football hooligan or previous football hooligan. He's got his own bad boy past. The hype between himself and Spilka, I don't know if that's because ticket sales were low and they were trying to get last minute sales for Wilder. Wilder, for all his bomb squad and all the rest of it, I wouldn't say he's a big draw.
Right.
And he needs to put on a performance. The Duhaupas performance for me, but I told a lot of people Duhaupas would be a tough fight for Wilder simply because Duhaupas would keep going and keep pressing the action if Wilder didn't get him out of there early, and they didn't see Wilder getting him out of there early. Then the Molina fight where Molina made him do the jig. Then you had the Stavern fight where even I went back and looked at the Stavern fight. Stavern didn't look too bad, but then there were rumours where Stavern was dehydrated in the fight and all the rest of it there. So, we need to see what he does against Spilka. Spilka's got fast hands, he's southpaw, stance, he's got good boxing ability, good boxing brain, he's got power in both hands. I mean, and I'm not too cool on the Wilder chin. He seems a vulnerable champion. At any time somebody can get him. Yeah, he's got that big right hand. But so many defensive flaws, like he still up to this day doesn't know how to block a jab. His way of blocking a jab is pulling his head straight back. And when he pulls his head back, he keeps his hands down by his sides.
Right.
And that's an opening for 1-2. So I don't know what Ronnie Shields would have seen those things. I don't know what Spilka's role is in this fight. Is Spilka's role to come in here and actually have a fight and actually come to rip the title off of Wilder, or is Spilka's role to come in and lay down?
No, he's definitely coming in to win. Spilka, he's coming in trying to win this fight, and Wilder's gonna have to be careful because this is like a trap fight. Because Wilder's right there at the break of stardom. You know what I mean? He has a title, but he's not perceived to be the heavyweight champion because we all know Tyson Fury's the champion.
Yep.
But if he can beat Spilka, this is his in between fight, and then fight Povetkin, and Povetkin's the big fight. If he can beat Povetkin, then then now we're talking about Wilder as legit,
Yeah.
and and then that's what's gonna that's why he can't afford any setbacks. But as far as his chin goes, I keep hearing that he has a shaky chin, but I think his chin is solid. I think in the heavyweight division, though, this is the grown man division, heavyweight division, and one punch can change a fight at the heavyweight division.
Yep.
And even Klitschko, who dominated it for all these years, I mean, how many times Klitschko been wobbled all around the ring in his earlier days, So
okay, but let's go back to that. Do you remember the Harold Skonius fight? You remember that fight?
Yes.
Did you see the fight?
No, I remember the highlights on YouTube.
Down for the count of 9, and that fight is. There's nowhere on YouTube you can find that fight.
No, they don't have the full fight. I don't know why.
Well, exactly. But that's the same thing for moving on to Mark Demore versus David Haye. The same thing. Mark Demore got chinned in a round by a guy called Digger. You can't find that fight anywhere on YouTube. Removed off YouTube.
Mm-hmm. There's a few of them I seen like that. What was it? What's the other fight I saw like that? It disappeared. It was. I think it was some of Keith Thurman's amateur fights.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was also another fight, professional fight against the Robinson guy who knocked Keith Thurman down.
Yep.
And that fight was on YouTube, and then it just disappeared. Yeah, it disappeared. Thurman got up to knock him out though. But still, it disappeared.
That's not good, is it? You see, so when stuff like that is around, when stuff like that suddenly disappears off YouTube, it makes you do wonder why people do things. Are you protecting something? Are you trying to guard something there? And then you look at the sort of opponents Wilder's been fighting since he's won the title from Thurman. They're hardly spectacular or top 10 or top 20 fighters.
Right. It's he'll be all right. I think that he has to get past the Spilka guy, and I think that, like I said, Povetkin will be the main test. And if he can get past Povetkin and outbox him, then I think at that point, now we're talking about the real deal. It's going to be some unification time. Because Charles Martin fighting on the undercard against Glasgow.
Just going to talk to you about him.
Yeah, that's an interesting fight because Glasgow, I felt, has gotten a lot of
gifts.
He's gotten a few gifts, man. And I think that if Charles Martin can end this guy and not let it go to the judges' scorecards,
he wins.
If Martin can get rid of him, then I think with Martin having that IBF belt, they're definitely going to try to get Wilder versus Martin. Absolutely, they're going to make that fight.
You can see it, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I tell you something. I from what I've seen of Charles Martin, what I've heard the brother been seeing recently, I'm high on him. I'm high on him a lot.
Yeah.
You're talking about himself in a more conscious manner, and I like that. And his approach to the ring. I mean, Abel Sanchez seems to have a lot of respect for Charles Martin. Says the guy can box, good boxing ability. He's not a Mike Tyson, but he hits respectable enough for the heavyweight division. So I'm sliding with Charles Martin because Glasgow's been beaten by 3 guys or maybe 4 guys. He definitely got beat by Cunningham, got beat by Malik Scott, got beat by Adamek, and probably got beat by Rossi as well. So there's the 4 guys he got beat by. So if you got beat by those 4 guys, it means you're not that very good a fighter.
Right.
If you put those 4 losses down, so you're looking at Glasgow with, 19 or 21 fights with 4 losses. When you look at it that way,
right.
Against Charles Martin, who's unbeaten and hasn't lost a fight, I kind of look at it as Charles Martin being too big and too strong. But I'm sure that Martin be able to push Glasgow back and put some heavy punches on him early. And he knows that if the fight goes to points, that Glasgow is going to win the fight. So it's just a matter of whether Glasgow is durable enough to go to 12 rounds.
Right, yeah. Martin got some pop in his punches, too.
Yeah, yes. What do you think of Glasgow? Is he durable enough?
He's definitely I think he's durable, but I think Martin dominates him though. I think he dominates him, and if I just don't even want to think about it. If Martin gets robbed in this fight, man, it's just gonna be disgusting. And this guy Glasgow is gonna be famous just for getting gift decisions, man. But I hopefully Martin stops him, so we won't have to worry about this nonsense. But I think Glasgow has a respectable chin, but
I think we'll close off by David Haye, the return of the Haymaker. Your thoughts?
I think it's good for boxing, man, but I'm not familiar with the guy he's fighting. I'm not familiar with him. I think that Haye is a good personality for boxing, but I think Haye is a bit of an opportunist as well. Haye just, like this guy is all over the place with the excuses, and I don't want to fight anymore. I'm retired. I want to be a model or whatever he's doing. And then, when he sees an opportunity, he comes back. He's like Sugar Ray Leonard to it a little bit, man.
Yeah. The opportunity is coming back at the right time, picking the right moments.
Right.
So where do you, in all this, where do you put the Joshua and Dillian White fight, and then Haye gonna fight Joshua in the summer if it happens?
Oh wow, man! You know what? Anthony Joshua, I'm a big fan. Right. Big fan of Joshua. I like him. I think he's the goods, man. I think this kid is really that good. A lot of people not sold on him yet, but I think he's good, man. And I'm not I'm not concerned about a loss. Like a lot of people, if Joshua were to lose his next fight, a lot of people, I told you he's overrated. I'm not concerned about that kind of stuff because in the heavyweight division, things like that can happen with one punch. But the Dillian White fight was one of the best fights of last year to me. I love that fight. It was so energetic for the heavyweight division. The hype, the build up to it, and it was not even like this is not some like big fight in the States where it's all over. It's promoted heavy in the U.S. and nothing. But it was. I got caught up into the history and the beef of these two guys, and it was just great. I loved it. So I think Joshua versus Haye. I have to see how Haye looks tomorrow. I have to see how Haye looks, but Haye is definitely a threat to anybody outside of Klitschko. Haye is definitely a threat, and I don't really want Haye to beat Joshua, honestly, because Haye's an opportunist, and I just don't want him to come back and beat this kid and then retire. And like, what did you come back for? Get out of here, man.
Word on the street is Chisora, Dillian White.
Yeah, I heard about that too. Chisora, I got Chisora in that fight. Chisora's been staying busy, staying active, and I've also heard some rumors that I can't talk about, I guess, but I heard some rumors that Chisora has the mental edge over Dillian White.
I heard rumors the other way around that it was.
Oh, really? Really?
It was Dillian White that dropped Chisora with a body shot in sparring.
Wow. You know what? I see somebody told me something that total opposite. Somebody told me the total opposite.
So something happened. But then I heard an interview with Larry Alibamewu, and he said that he sparred with Dillian White, hit him with a body shot and dropped him. So who knows?
Yep.
Who knows? 78 Sports TV, thank you so much for being on Bayloric TV. It's really enjoyed talking with you. Love mixing up with you, and we got to do this more often.
Absolutely, man. Hey, man, I really enjoyed this. This is a good, good conversation, man. Whenever just hit me up, man, and we'll chop it up, man. And I definitely enjoyed myself today.
Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Peace.
Take care, brother. All the best.